Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in! Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons, and welcome back to the channel that brings power gaming to the next level. Well, the Doctor spell prognosis is essentially over with. We have gone over every single spell, just about. We didn't do a lot of the Matt Mercer specials, and some of the other spells that are found in some of the third-party books, but we did all the ones that are found in all the WotC books. And if you were curious, that is 27 pages of spells. And you can see how many spells are on every single page. So these are in order of level at this point. They're in order of level, and they are in order of alphabetized. So Acid Splash is the first one. And then the very last spell in here is Wish. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the top 10 spells of the game. So I went through these, and we don't want to take too much time. I want to take a couple minutes with each one of these because we've already done a video about all of these. But we want to take a couple of minutes with each one. I want to go through, and I'm going to do these from 10 to 1. And we're going to talk about each one. We've already talked about them all in depth. We're just going to talk about one. But first I want to talk about some of the things that I used to grade the spells that I looked at. So one, I used spell power. And this includes the appropriate damage for the spell level. So, for example, Fireball is a 3rd level spell. It does 8d6 damage. A 4th level spell, power level should be higher than Fireball, so it should be doing more damage than Fireball, or maybe equivalent damage with a little added extra effect, or a little bit less damage with an added extra effect, but it should still be more powerful than a Fireball. And, you know, if it's a 7th level spell, and it's doing like 2d6 damage and making difficult terrain, that's not, in my opinion, that's not equivalent to, you know, kind of that baseline that I'm looking for. So spell power was one of the things that I'm looking for. The next question I ask is, can this spell end a combat? So if your party is in combat, or you're the dungeon master and you have a big bad evil guy and it uses a spell, is it going to be something that is going to be so detrimental that it will essentially end combat? Things like paralysis. That's a big one. Paralysis, even for, remember, combats only last for a couple of rounds, so paralysis will absolutely, even if it lasts for 2 rounds, will absolutely end combat. Can the spell stop powerful attacks? Is it going to stop a powerful attack happening? Is it going to make me make a saving throw where I don't take any damage? Or is it going to cause a really powerful, like, critical hit to not hit at all? Instead of vice versa, turning it from a critical hit into a regular hit, but just making it so that it doesn't hit at all, to make you invulnerable, that kind of thing. Does it have multiple uses? That's another thing. So how many uses of the spell am I going to get? If I have to concentrate on it, I'm going to be able to do something every round with it, or is it a one and done? What access do player characters have to that spell? The lower level of the spell, the more access there is. So 1st level spells, obviously everybody has access to those. And the reason I did that is given the average level of a campaign that a campaign will get to is around 11th or 12th level. And then most campaigns just kind of fall off after that. Most of your written adventure books are made for like 11th level. So that allows you to get up to about 6th level spells. And then beyond that, so 9th level spells, unless you're playing a very high level campaign, the PCs may not have access to those. Does the spell require concentration, yes or no? I didn't decrement a lot of spells because they required concentration, but if they were really powerful and they didn't require concentration, that was a big plus. What kinds of saving throws did these spells have? Again, intelligence is probably the best one, followed by charisma, followed by wisdom, followed by dexterity, followed by constitution, followed by strength. Most creatures have a really high strength, so it's hard to get them to fail that save. Most creatures don't have the greatest intelligence, and so it's easy for creatures to fail that saving throw. And then the other thing is I looked to see if spells affected something based off of skill checks, because things like Hex can take those skill checks and give disadvantage out on them. And there's lots of ways of doing that. Okay, let's get into the top 10 spells. And number 10, coming in at number 10, 10 out of 10, we've got Wish. Wish is our number 10 spell in the game. Great spell. We went over this. This is the last spell we did. It's very high level. And the reason I'm making it, it is the most powerful spell in the game, but players have very little access to it because it's so high level. So you got to be 17th level to get this spell. Most campaigns will not get to that. So the access is limited. It's very limited based off of that. But it can cast a whole bunch of other spells. We've went over that. It can do all these other effects. There is a chance that you will never be able to cast a spell again, but you can get around that if with a simulacrum. Cast a simulacrum, a copy yourself, make sure that you have your wish spell in your list, and it can cast the wish spell for you and do all this other stuff, and then you don't have to worry about it. Done, okay? No problem. All right. Number 9 is going to be, 9 out of 10 is going to be True Polymorph. Again, another really high-level spell which limits access to the spell because most campaigns are not going to get to this level. However, this is a spell that will end combat. It turns creatures into whatever you want, and they can be permanent. If you concentrate on this spell for the duration, an hour, then the spell lasts until it is dispelled, which is permanent. So, and then there's all kinds of stuff, and we went over this. This is a great spell. It will end combat. It's very powerful, but it has a limited access to it. All right, number 8. Number 8 is Prismatic Wall, another 9th level spell. Again, these 9th level spells, these 3 spells are so freaking powerful, but because of the limited access that players may have or DMs may have because campaigns don't go that high, that's why I put these where they put them. So again, a very high-level spell which limits access, but this one, again, is another one, especially if it's used with very smart forced movement, and I've got a video out about forced movement too. This can end combats very easily. There's all of these different effects that this can do that basically all happen at the same time, and you and your allies can come in and out of this thing as much as you want. So again, very powerful spell. It is number 8. Okay, number 7, Simulacrum. We went over this spell. This is a 7th level spell, so the access to this spell is more. However, you still have to be 13th level to cast this spell, but the Simulacrum can cast if you cast Simulacrum, your Simulacrum can cast all the spells that you can cast, except for Simulacrum. It can cast them all at once. It can't regain its spells. But again, there's so much utility in that, that this spell just is completely awesome. Works great with Wish. If you have that spell and you're that level, you cast Simulacrum and you have a Wish spell. Now your Simulacrum has Wish. It can cast the Wish on any of the other abilities, and the penalties are negligible. You rest the next day, get up again, cast Simulacrum. Simulacrum cast Wish again. Just an awesome combo. And again, this has multiple uses for combat because it's a copy of you that can cast spells, all of your spells, except for Simulacrum. It casts all your spells that you have when you cast this spell. So you always need to make sure that you cast this spell when you are essentially fully rested. So the only spell it won't have is Simulacrum. All right, number 6. Number 6 is going to be Otto's Irresistible Dance. 6th level spell, so Very good access to this spell. Probably going to be towards the end of a campaign. Auto is Irresistible Dance. No saving throw. The only caveat to this is that creatures that cannot be charmed are immune to the spell. Not a whole lot of those. And it's a wisdom saving throw, but there's no saving throw until they decide to take a saving throw. And then the creature's just dancing. It's got disadvantage on dex saves. Fireballs, lightning bolts, chain lightnings, all that stuff. You know, it's going to fail those saves. Everybody's got advantage on it. The great spell, very easy to end combats, and the access to this spell is pretty good. All right, number 5. Number 5 is going to be Eye Bite. And all of these spells, by the way, I gave an S tier rating for. Eye Bite, 6th level spell, has multiple uses for combat, so every single round, one creature of choice within 60 feet of you that you can see must succeed on a saving throw or be affected by one of the following effects of your choice for on each of your turns till the spell ends. You can use your action to target another creature. That's it. And you can do one of these 3 things for a minute. So you can do this up to 10 times. It's mid-level access again, which the access is a little bit a little less limited. And again, it can end combats. If you hit something and you make it go asleep, and it's a wisdom saving throw, so it's one of the really good 3 saving throws, you make something go asleep, then everybody can gack it at that point. It is going to be crit hit city at that point. Panicked is pretty good. Sickened is okay, but that asleep one, and you can do that over and over and over again. If they make their save, so what? You just hit them again. All right, number 4. Number 4 is going to be Telekinesis. 5th level spell. We've got even more access. You can have access to this at 9th level. Ultimate forced movement spell. It requires an ability check contested by a creature's strength check. And there are a lot of ways to mitigate those checks as well. To give things disadvantage, you kind of want to work through that before you cast this spell. Remember, Dungeons & Dragons is a team effort. It is a team game, and you need to work with your team, your allies, the other player characters to say, hey, I've got telekinesis. Does anybody have any way that they can cause a penalty to someone's strength check? Because if you can, we got it. We're going to start moving this thing around as much as we want. And you can move things in such a way that it will end combats. Moving objects up to 1,000 pounds is also awesome. This is a great spell, and again, it's more towards like the back third of your average campaign, but you're going to have access to this spell for quite some time. All right, number 3. We're getting to the end here. Number 3, Hold Monster. Awesome, awesome spell. Okay, choose a creature. That's it. Wisdom saving throw. That's it. Most creatures can't make that. Again, D&D is a team sport, so figure out how to mitigate those saving throws. I got a couple of videos about that as well. But if they fail, they're paralyzed. And remember I said paralysis. Paralysis is one of the ultimate things. So it's incapacitated. It can't move or speak. And incapacitated means also that it cannot take actions. It automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. All attacks have advantage. And any attack that hits the creature is a crit if it's within 5 feet. Crit City, here we go. And you can upcast this spell and target additional creatures too, which makes this spell even better. Now, at the end of each of their turns, they do get a saving throw, but it is a wisdom saving throw. It should be pretty high. Again, this is a 5th level spell, so you have access to this spell at around 9th level. All right, number 2. We're getting to the end. Shield. 1st level spell. Everybody can get this spell. It is one of the most powerful spells in the game. You can use it. It will be used multiple times in a combat. Multiple times. I can't count how many games I've played where people have pulled out Shield over and over and over and over again because you get multiple slots. People have Rings of Spell Storing they put Shield in. Super useful spell, and it's on my list as something that will stop a powerful attack. It's simple. It's a reaction. All great things. +5 to your AC reaction, take no damage from a magic missile. This has stopped, so I can't imagine how many attacks this spell has stopped in Dungeons and Dragons since the beginning of 5th edition. And it is, the bane of dungeon masters, all of that. Great spell, and it essentially makes a creature waste their turn, or an enemy. All right. Number 1. Here is our number 1 spell of the game, Silvery Barbs. Is that a surprise? Not a surprise to me. Again, it's a first level spell, so there's tons of access to this spell. It's another one of these reaction spells. And again, if a DM is allowing this spell in, I allow this spell in my games. If you allow this spell in the game, it's going to get used a lot. I've seen it used a lot. It allows it makes a triggering creature re-roll a 20 using the lower roll, and then somebody else gets advantage on an attack, an ability check, or saving throw that it makes in the next minute. That never loses its utility, and it can turn the tide of combats pretty massively. Being able to just go, you are going to fail your save, and my ally over here is going to have advantage on their next saving throw is massive. It doesn't matter what level you are. It is just massive. All right. That is our top 10 list. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. We will kind of start examining some things. I got a suggestion from somebody about maybe putting out a top 10 list of spells that shouldn't be the level that they are. I'm going to go through and look at all the spells that I gave F or a D to, and we'll look at those, and we'll make that top 10 list. And I am probably going to start going through and reviewing all of the subclasses because somebody asked me to do that. All right, that is what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.